Hello Lamai, I hope you are doing well and you are preparing for the O-level exam. Now I am going to help you by reviving your biology lessons. First I have chosen the first lesson, chemical basis of life. Let's move into the lesson. First, elements. There are about 25 elements in our human body. From them, the oxygen has highest amount. MCQ එකක් වලින් ඇහුවොත් ඔන්න මතක තියාගන්න the oxygen is the most abundant element in our body. Then these elements collect together to form two types of compounds, organic and inorganic compound. Organic compounds, carbohydrate, proteins, lipids and nucleic acid, they also mainly categorized as biomolecules, and vitamin also a organic molecule. For the example, for the inorganic ones, water, gases and mineral. ඔන්න මතක තියාගන්න MCQ වලට එන්න පුළුවන්. Then let's move into the biomolecules. Then, as I said earlier, the biomolecules are carbohydrate, proteins, nucleic acid and lipids. Then monomers of these biomolecules respectively, carbohydrate made up with monosaccharide, proteins amino acid, nucleic acid made up with nucleotides, and lipids are made up with two types of monomers, fatty acids and glycerol. Then let's move into the elements. මතක තියාගන්න elements. Carbohydrates are made up with carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and protein made up with carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and sometimes sulfur. And the nucleic acid, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus. Lipids, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. The example for the carbohydrate. You know that there is a classification of carbohydrate according to its structure. The simplest structure is monosaccharide. The example for the monosaccharide is glucose, fructose and galactose. Then combining two monosaccharide form disaccharide. The example for that sucrose, lactose and maltose. The polysaccharides are the large number of monosaccharide. The example for that is starch, glycogen, cellulose. Likewise, right? Most important thing is sometimes you can be the exam will ask how to form these three disaccharides, right? මේ disaccharides තුන form වෙන විදිය වගේ අහන්න පුළුවන්. Then sucrose are made up with combining glucose and fructose. මතක තියාගන්න. And lactose is made up with glucose and galactose, and the maltose is made up with 2 glucose. හරියට මතක තියාගන්න. Right? Then example for the proteins, insulin, collagen, hemoglobin, keratin, actin, myosin, those are the examples. And the nucleic acid, there are two types, DNA and RNA. The long term for the DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid and the RNA is ribonucleic acid. The DNA is made up with deoxyribonucleotide. The RNA is made up by ribonucleotides. The lipids are examples, fats, oil and waxes, right? Then for the functions, for all of for carbohydrates and proteins and lipids, for these three you can write as an energy source for the function. හැම එකටම ලියන්න පුළුවන් එකක් විදිහට keep in mind, right? Energy source, carbohydrate can use as an energy source and to form structural components like cell wall, and it also a component of the nucleic acid. Nucleic acid වලත් component එකක්. And the proteins are also used as an energy source, and it also used as enzymes and as a hormones and to build up structural components like bones, hairs, likewise the structural components of our body. And as well as it also used to transport material. For example, hemoglobin is the component of red blood cell. It involves to transport oxygen in our body, right? The nucleic acid, it helps to store genetic information and pass the genetic information from generation to generation. Then for the RNA is storage genetic informations of the viruses as well as RNA is involves to synthesis protein. Lipids is also an energy source, and it involves to made hormones, structural components, and sometimes it helps to maintain body temperature and yes. Then let's move into the enzymes. හරි ඔය ටික තමයි ඔයාලගේ බයෝමොලිකියුල්ස් ගැන උගලන්ගෙන් අහන්න පුළුවන් මේජර් දේවල් ටික. ඔන්න මතක තියාගන්න. තව අපිට ඕනනම් කාබෝහයිඩ්‍රේට්ස් ගත්තාම මේ හැබැයි ඒක අහන එකක් නැති වෙයි. කාබෝහයිඩ්‍රේට්ස් වල මොනොසැකරයිඩ්, ඩයිසැකරයිඩ්ස් and polysaccharides වල properties අහන්න පුළුවන්. Both monosaccharides and disaccharides are well dissolved in water and they are crystalline form. Crystalline විදිහට තමයි තියෙන්නේ. But polysaccharides are not in crystalline form and they are insoluble in water. වතුර දිය වෙන්නේත් නැහැ. ඔය පොඩ්ඩක් මතක තියාගන්න පුළුවන්. Glucose, sucrose කියන්නේ sugar, starch කියන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවනේ. ඒ දේවල් ගැන පොඩ්ඩක් මතක තියාගත්තොත් පුළුවන් මතක තියාගන්න. And enzymes කියන එක most important part එකක් වෙයි ඔයාගේ exam එකේදී. because there is an enzyme test, right? First, keep in mind the definition of the enzyme. Enzyme is the special protein that are produced within the organisms to increase the rate of the chemical reactions. යාට කරන්න පුළුවන් rate එක increase කරන එක විතරයි. For the enzyme test, you need starch, amylase and iodine. Keep in mind iodine is a brown color solution, right? In this test you need a porcelain tile. First you have to add amylase, little bit of amylase to starch solution, and dropwise this mixture add into the porcelain tile with the iodine solution. Initially you can see amylase starch gives purplish blue color with iodine, but in later the brown color remain. That means iodine color of the iodine remains in the porcelain tile. For the reason for that is initially starch and iodine gives purplish blue color, but in later the amylase enzyme react with starch and it convert into the maltose. maltose වලට convert කරනවා. The starch convert කරනවා to the maltose. So after few minutes in this solution a mixture contain only maltose. Then maltose doesn't give the purplish blue color with the iodine, so the color of the iodine will remain after few minutes. මොන reason එක අහන්න පුළුවන්. starch maltose කරනවා. ඒක නිසා iodine එකේ color එක විතරයි later අපිට බලන්න පුළුවන්. initially but starch and iodine මොනවද වෙන්නේ? purplish blue color එකක් එනවා. මෙතෙන්දි මම මේ ටෙස්ට් එකත් පොඩ්ඩක් මතක් කරන්නම්. starch identify කරන්න පුළුවන්. iodine දාලා iodine solution එකත් එක්ක මොනවද එන්නේ? purplish blue color එකක් එනවා. Then next with that I'm going to discuss the other test also, Benedict test. The Benedict test is used to identification of monosaccharides, all monosaccharides as well as disaccharides except sucrose. That means maltose and lactose. Using this test you can identify these 2 disaccharides also. So you need Benedict solution. Benedict solution එක ඕන වෙනවා. Then add the Benedict solution to the monosaccharide or these two disaccharide solutions and put them in a water bath and heat using a Bunsen burner. After few minutes you can observe the colors change. First blue, then green, then yellow, and after that orange and brick red precipitate. This is the brick red precipitate. Brick red precipitate. මේක තමයි final observation එක. And for the before moving to the biuret test, for the sucrose identification, there is a simple exception from this Benedict solution. You have to add little bit of sulfuric acid and heat before observing the color change. හරිද? observe කරන්න කලින් ඔයාලට පොඩ්ඩක් sulfuric acid ඩිංගක් දාලා මේක heat කරන්න වෙනවා. එතකොට තමයි ඒකේ observation එක දෙන්නේ. sucrose directly මේ observation එක දෙන්නේ නැහැ. මේ විදියට boil කරාට. හරිද? Then biuret test is important to identification of proteins. Proteins identify කරන්න තමයි biuret test එක important වෙන්නේ. For the biuret test, you need sodium hydroxide and copper sulfate. Then after adding protein solution to these two solutions, it will form purple color solution. Purple color solution එකක් තමයි එන්නේ. The Sudan 3 test is important to identification of lipids when having an aqueous lipid solution. When after adding Sudan 3, it will form red color fat globules. Red color fat globules තමයි observe වෙන්නේ. Then test for the water test කරන්න අපිට use කරන්න පුළුවන් anhydrous copper sulfate as well as anhydrous cobalt chloride. Anhydrous copper sulfate what පේනවා it's like a salt. ඒ කියන්නේ white color. When it get hydrated it turn into the blue. එහෙනම් white color blue වෙනවා. change එක අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම initial color එකයි final color එකයි දෙකම ලියන්න වෙනවා. If you use the cobalt chloride, the initial color is blue and when it get hydrated, it will turn into the pink. Pink වෙනවා. හරිද? Initial එක blue, pink වෙනවා hydrated වුණාම. Then charcoal test. carbon identify කරන්නේ කොහොමද? Carbon identify කරන්න you need a living organism like a plant leaf or eggshells. Then you have to get heated them using a crucible එකට දාලා ඔයගොල්ලෝ මේක heat කරන්න ඕනේ. Then after heating or after burning them you can see the black color residue. Then you can draw a black color line on the paper because of it forms charcoal. Charcoal means carbon, right? So charcoal test එක තමයි අපි carbon identify කරන්නේ burn කරනවා. burn කරාම black color compound එක residue එකක් form වෙනවා. ඒ residue එකෙන් ඔයාලට පුළුවන් paper එකක black color line එකක් අඳින්න. එහෙනම් ඒක තමයි charcoal test එක. දැන් nitrogen identification test එකකුත් තියෙනවා. ඒ test එකම තමයි protein test එක. ඒතර protein test එකේ biuret test එකම තමයි nitrogen identification test එක. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයාලට compound එක ගන්නවා copper sulfate and sodium hydroxide add කරනවා purple color solution එකක් එනවා nitrogen element එක තියෙනවා. Then let's move into the vitamins. ඔයාලට ගොඩක්ම vitamins MCQs වලට අහන්න පුළුවන්. There are 6 vitamins. Among them vitamin A, D, E, K are fat soluble. B and C are water soluble. These are water soluble vitamins. Now B, C water soluble, A, D, E, K fat soluble vitamins. මතක තියාගන්න. A mainly skin and eye එකට තමයි effect වෙන්නේ. එහෙනම් මොනවාද deficiencies in terms night blindness and bito patches Bito patches, cornea failure, dry eyes, those are the deficiency disease. Vitamin B deficiency, beriberi, pellagra, those are the deficiency diseases of the vitamin B. Vitamin C, scurvy or bleeding gums. Bleeding gums, ඉදුරුමහයෙන් ලේන එක පසදී and vitamin D, rickets. Vitamin E, fertility disorders or immature births. Vitamin K, delay in clotting of blood. මෙතෙන්දී අනිවාර්යෙන් delay කියන එක ලියන්න ඕන. blood clotting කියලා ලියන්න බෑ. delay වෙනවා. And the minerals examples iron, iodine කියන දෙක අනිවාර්යෙන් most important අහන්න පුළුවන් එකක්. ඒකින් මේ දෙකවත් මතක තියාගන්න. iodine deficiency එකක් තමයි goiter. අර ගලගණ්ඩ කියන්නේ ඒක. and iron deficiency එකක් තමයි anemia. ඒකත් එක plant වල ඔයගලන්ගෙත් අහන්න පුළුවන් deficiencies. මෙන්න මේ ටික මතක තියාගන්න. chlorosis cause වෙන minerals nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, iron and calcium. nitrogen chlorosis වෙනවා whole plant leaf එක. බලන්න green color එක yellow color වෙලා. and the phosphorus gives red and purple patches. ඔයාලට පේනවා red and purple patches තමයි phosphorus වලින් deficiency එකකින් වෙන්නේ. sulfur deficiency එකේදී near the veins and in between veins gives chlorosis. ඒකෙදි chlorosis එකක් වෙන්නේ veins and near veinlets ළඟ තමයි වෙන්නේ. and iron deficiency එකේදී tender leaves තමයි chlorosis වෙන්නේ. and for the calcium it's not a chlorosis. When the calcium deficiency, the tip of the leaves can be destroyed. leaf එකේ tip එක තමයි තුඩ වගේ කොටස තමයි ඒකේ destroy වෙන්නේ. then finally අපි මේ lesson එකේ ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙන්නේ properties of water. then water is a polar molecule, you know. then there are 4 properties. They are cohesive and adhesive bonds, high specific heat capacity, density is greater at 4 Celsius and universal solvent. The solvent එකක් කියන එක ඔයගලන්ට important වෙනවා for the respiration in the aqueous organisms and to dissolve the certain compounds like your excretory products are dissolved in your body to carry the to carry them into the target organs. and also some nutrients also dissolved in the body to transfer them into the different organs. ඒවා මොනවාද solvent එකක් කියන එකේ important එකක්. density in greatest at 4 Celsius ඒක important වෙනවා to live aquatic organisms in winter seasons. winter season එකේදී ජීවත් වෙන්න වැදගත් වෙනවා. in high specific heat capacity එක අපිට important වෙනවා අපේ body temperature එක constantly maintain කරන්න. cohesion and adhesion bonds important වෙනවා to transfer water and minerals through the xylem tissue. එහෙනම් ඔන්න ඔය ටික තමයි ඔයාලට first lesson එකේ mainly ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ mind එකේ තියාගෙන යන්න ඕන දේවල් ටික අපි second lesson එකේදී ඊළඟට හම්බ වෙමු.